What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Tides, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, so let's talk about another SPS governance proposal to adjust the token distribution strategy. Now, there's been a lot of talk about this lately, the exponential decay, the extending staking rewards. Now, the thing is, Clay put this out. It's been out for about 24 hours now. It seems as though it's going to pass, and it got a lot of feedback from, top stakeholders. And so you can see here, let me just read through it, or at least the important parts, right? So the purpose of this proposal is to ensure that the SPS DAO has a viable strategy. After my recent post exploring a more sustainable approach to the rewards, a down hall with Matt and Dave, as well as many conversations with SPS stakeholders, I put together a proposal based on that feedback. Now, here's the strategy. The strategy that this proposal aims to implement is similar to my original suggestion of endless exponential decay, but is modified to have boundaries in place that help mitigate some of the rewards decline. The reason for this is that some of the top stakeholders feel that substantially cutting the rewards over the next 12 to 24 months while we're trying to market and grow the ecosystem could have a negative impact on our chances at success, as well as reduce the incentives for our current player base to stay engaged. Now, this modified strategy aims to create a compromise where we create a roughly 3-year runway for our exhausted reward pools so that we don't have to be concerned about any abrupt drops, and the decline will be much more gradual than the one that I was suggesting with endless exponential. So some pools will have a much longer runway than 3 years. When making those changes. The main difference with this modified strategy is that after 3 years, we will have to start providing rewards, which, to be fair, we'd likely needed to start supplementing rewards after 2 or 3 years with my suggested solution anyway, as they would be trailing off significantly at that point. In short, we get the benefit of extending our rewards runway without dedicating a large portion of the tokens to the low end of an endless exponential distribution model. Now, I like the endless exponential model, right? The endless decay. It's something that I've been advocating for a long time, and I'll be honest, I'm a little disappointed that we're not going to go that route, because this, to me, is like kicking the can down 3 years. It also, to me, this is a fundamental misunderstanding of what the endless, it's a misunderstanding or a lack of faith in like what SPS is supposed to do. Now, I admit that I could be totally wrong on this, but my understanding is that as SPS becomes much more scarce, right, the value is supposed to go up, which is why even if rewards are much lower in 3 years from now, the goal is that SPS as a whole would be higher, right? So therefore, if SPS is higher in terms of value, right, USD value or whatever you want to call it, whatever chart we're looking at in the next 3 years, if it is higher, then you don't need as many tokens. So for example, right now, SPS is at what, 0.008 or something like that. And so let's say we're giving out 1 million tokens a month. Well, in 3 years, if SPS were to hit 8 cents and we were only giving out 100,000 tokens, that would essentially cover the same USD value, right? So with this, to me, it's just like kicking the can down the road a little bit. It's like taking a little bit of the endless, not the endless, but the exponential decay, but then just having it run out after 3 years, which is, to me, just we're just putting this in and having it run out in 3 years, and let's kick the can down the road and see what happens. Now, again, I'm being a little harsh probably with this whole kick the can down the road, because I think our community, the team, Clay, this is not any shots at Clay or anything, right? The team, the DAO, the SPS stakeholders, like, we are all actually, if anything, we react too quickly to things, right? We're always trying to change and adjust stuff. So my whole thing with this is that it's not necessarily about like kicking the can down the road, but we're just going to be, this is something that we will have to deal with again later. And my hope, especially coming out of the down hall with Matt, was that we would have a framework in which we would never have to, unless the situation called for it, we would never have to mess with it again. What we could do in the future, if you have this endless exponential decay, is just add tokens, right? Which would increase the rewards. It's like, if this bucket is giving out, 5% a month or 3% a month, then, if you add more to that bucket, then we increase rewards immediately as well as for the rest of time, right? And so as we go through, and again, maybe there's some points that I'm missing here, only because I know, someone like Dave, for example, I think has been rather good about being on top of this. in his mind, he's probably, and again, I'm just guessing here, but in his mind, he's thinking, okay, we can secure the rewards, keep things consistent for the next 3 years while we go through hopefully a big growth for Splinterlands with, you know, the bull market, with marketing, whatever the team has planned. And we can come back and do more mini sets, do more promo cards, do things that focus on bringing SPS back into the DAO so that when we make that decision in a little while from now, we'll be okay. Now, the other thing is the DAO does have a lot of SPS already, right? I think per the white paper, it was supposed to get like 400 million SPS, something like that. So it's sitting on a lot of SPS. The only thing that they're allocating is the extra LP rewards and using those to extend all the pools and say, let's focus on this again in 3 years. Again, we will have the SPS, or I should say not we, but the DAO will have the SPS to handle this and to take a look at it as we get closer. So I'm not that worried. I'm just a little disappointed, right? I shouldn't even say that I'm worried. I'm not worried. I'm just disappointed that we're not putting this framework in now because I think this is something that we could settle at this point in time. Maybe there's wisdom in thinking that let's see if the game goes through like literally a massive change over the next couple of years, how things could look. And you know, maybe people wouldn't want to come in if the framework is a certain way, and maybe they'll want to have a voice in how that framework is built out. I don't know, right? But to me, this is just not, like, I was hoping that we would get something permanent here. And I thought that's where Matt was too. So it's a little surprising to see that this is where we're at. So let's go to the proposal now and actually look at some of the numbers here. As you can see, unused token proposal. Unused tokens being added to the pool. You got 79 million for staking. You got 1 million for licenses. Modern, Wild will each get 50 million, and tournaments will get 20 million. That sums up the 200 million that we're getting from the LP rewards, or leftover LP rewards. And so what that does is essentially make it so that the only change that we're going to have to these rewards to extend them out for 3 years is a 90% drop, right, from the previous monthly rewards. So, sorry, not 9% drop. Whoa, that would have been crazy. A 10% drop. So we're doing 90% of what the rewards would have been. Now, on this, if you go to the post, and I highly recommend you go to the post, you can see, you know, a much more detailed look if you were to click into here, but I'm not going to do that now. Where this comes in, and this is why I think, or at least a bigger part of it, right? I probably should have led with this earlier or brought it up earlier when I was talking about Dave, but, you know, additionally, to help further incentivize staking and offset the rewards reduction, the Splinterlands team has agreed to help bolster voucher incentives by releasing at least 10 voucher exclusive cards and 1 exclusive cosmetic item that can only be purchased with vouchers per year. This should also help land, as each of the voucher exclusive cards will have its own auction cycle. So we're going from 4 voucher cards up to 10, and then also adding on an exclusive item. So again, all these things are going to be good for vouchers, which, you know, benefit both staking as well as the licenses. Again, I think that's awesome. That probably could have been a video in and of itself. But in the context of this is what I was trying to say earlier, where I'm just like, Dave is probably looking at this through a different lens that we just don't have the full the full kind of perspective to, right? So it's like, I really was hoping we'd have the framework in mind. Maybe there's something else to it. Maybe this is something we can talk about in the upcoming town hall. But overall, it seems to be passing already. I will probably end up voting for it. This is my dissent here in this video, right? I don't know if Clay ends up watching it or if there's enough people that vote against it. But my expectation, or my expectation is really that, you know, Clay probably did his research on this. He's good about going to the top stakeholders and seeing what they're on board with and what they're not on board with. So if they're mostly on board with this, voting against it is not going to do anything. Voicing my opinion here and maybe having it, you know, resonate if some people are, you know, feel like we should take the time to really double down and set something there. Maybe that'll be the case. But either way, like I said, I'm not worried. I'm just disappointed. I was really hoping we put this framework in, but again, I can admit, I'll be the first to admit that I don't have the full picture here, especially obviously since we don't know what the team has and what they're cooking up. So if this is what makes sense, the team seems like they're committing to, you know, more work, which I'm grateful for. But it's just like, okay, we'll see what happens. So that's all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I will catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.